Welcome to Synthaholics. This is your host, David Duncan, and with me is...
I'm Brian. I'm here too, David. I didn't know we were starting, but I guess we're starting. Hello,
You're here?
David.
You're here too? Oh,
I'm here. How we doing?
That's good. That's good. Good to hear. Good to hear.
That's good. We're gonna just smile the entire time. We can't change our facial expressions at all. Yep, you look creepy. Let's continue.
We're not allowed to change our facial expression.
We can't stop. We're very happy to be here today.
So
oh no, what's that kind of smile? Oh gosh, it's turning into something else.
I can't do it anymore. So we didn't go see Furiosa. Actually, Brian's already seen Furiosa. I haven't seen Furiosa yet, so that'll have to be a next time thing. But man, but poor Furiosa is not making any money at the box office.
Oh no, it's not. That's not good.
Yeah, it's well, the weekend it premiered, Memorial Day weekend, is like one of the lowest Memorial Day openings on record. Like it's really low. And I saw
normally go to the who tracks that? Do people normally go to the movie theater on Memorial Day?
Memorial Day is apparently a decent movie going weekend, and I saw a really unfortunate title. It says Furiosa Edges Garfield. So take that,
Garfield.
Oh, because that's the other movie that was out.
There's a Garfield movie out.
Yeah, Chris Pratt is Garfield and Mario.
Oh, yeah. I remember hearing him. I mean, he's the voice of like every animated character.
Everything, even Tifa. I mean, might as well.
Yeah, he's actually in this movie.
Yeah, he voices Tifa and Rufus.
He voices all of them. Oh boy! So David, what are we talking about today? Huh?
We're talking
who are these guys?
We're talking about the classic
2005
Square Enix film Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, not to be confused with Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, Final Fantasy Before Crisis, Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, not to be confused with any of those. This is the direct sequel to the original Final Fantasy VII.
Correct. And they made a movie about it.
And boy,
now we're going to talk about it. It is a movie. David, why don't we start off with what did you think of the movie? What are you giving it?
I gotta give it like a 6 or maybe a 6.5. It is not a good movie, but it's a fun movie to watch. It's kind of like Barbie. We're like, it's not a good movie, but it's fun to watch. I mean, there's parts that'll definitely get your attention. Like at least there's fight scenes in this film. The fight scenes are all really cool.
That is true.
Narratively, this movie's I don't even know what they're trying to do in this film, honestly. And then whoever directed the American voice actors to voice act this film was drunk, because he asked Rufus to read everything like he was reading it off a piece of paper with no inflection or emotion. And then Marlene, for some reason, is the best voice actor in the entire game, who actually has emotion and character come through.
And here we are.
And then there's everywhere in between, but most of the voice actors lean closer to the Rufus side than the Marlene side. Whereas I think Rufus was probably the worst voice actor, and Marlene was probably the best voice actor.
I don't think any of them were really that good. Marlene was fine, but other than that,
Marlene was the best.
Of them. Well, it was like there was Marlene and then the rest. That's the way I thought.
Well, the Rufus was the worst, and then there was a varying range in between Rufus and Marlene, but most of them favored the Rufus side versus the Marlene side. The delivery is Stellar Blade. Have you started Stellar Blade yet?
I have.
So did you? Whenever I started watching, I was like, man,
I did understand where you were coming from.
This feels like Stellar Blade. And the thing is, I don't think it's the actor's fault. I think it's just really bad direction. And they were like, yeah, that's that take. We'll take that take. And they didn't ask him to say the line again or something like that. I don't know. It feels like a directing issue. In Stellar Blade and in Final Fantasy VII.
Well, there's more than just a directing issue. There's a lot of issues with this movie. I was going in, if it will swap over to me here.
Yeah, swap over to you. What do you got?
I'm sad that you're copying me. I'm sad you're copying me for the rating I was gonna give. So we're gonna go with you're gonna give it a 6.5 because I was gonna give it a 6. So this movie, in terms of animation, it doesn't really hold up. I had the same complaint as you for the voice acting. Uh, the story. Oh boy, the story is how I feel with names. I can't like remember. I can't understand the names. That's what it felt like for the story. My idea of the story was everybody was getting infected with something, and then at sometimes Aerith or whoever that is, the power of heroes were able to get rid of the infection.
The power
And
of
then
Christ compels you.
Sephiroth he's not dead, but he is dead, and he came to fight again, but then he loses, and he's like, I'm not dead still. So it's like, this movie didn't make a whole lot of sense, but if I was 14 and I watched this movie, man, those fight scenes, they were pretty cool.
The fight
I like
scenes,
the Tifa fight scene was my favorite.
the Tifa fight scene was pretty epic. Like I liked how they, switched between like some really fast motion and slow motion, and they had that fun little the Laz's ringtone was da 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 whenever she beat him, and then
Yeah.
he cheap shots her and then runs away with Marlene.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I thought she won that fight until like 2 seconds, 2 or 5 seconds after the fight, where it was like, wait, she lost? I thought she won because he like cheap shot. I didn't even see it. I had to rewind it. It was like, why is she on the ground? I thought she won.
Yeah, he
But-
cheap shots her with his like
Yeah.
punching. He's
You
got
got to have an eagle eye to
he's
notice
got a
that.
power fist from Fallout.
Yeah, I don't know how he got in the Fallout universe, but he did get a
He
power
went to the
fist.
Fallout universe and got a power fist, which we haven't seen in the show. Maybe season 2 we'll get a power fist.
Yeah, in Final Fan, they'll bring it over from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, well, maybe.
So, David, on a scale of 1 to 100, how well you've seen this movie before? How many times have you seen this before?
This is probably my 5th or 6th watch of this film because I bought it on DVD or Blu-ray when it first came out. It was probably came out on DVD. I bought it like when it came out first thing. I watched it and I was like, I feel like it was episode 1. The whole episode 1 thing. I watched episode 1 a bunch because I was like, I like, why is this Star Wars episode 1? Like back when it came out in 1999, I was like, why is this so bad? And I kept watching it and I'm like, what am I missing? I got to be missing something. Because this movie shouldn't be this bad.
Are you talking about Star Wars?
Yes, I'm talking about Star Wars Episode 1.
Okay.
And then like this movie had that like Episode 1 feeling to me. It's like this can't be that bad. So I watched it like 3 or 4 times like right after I first got it because I was trying to like appreciate it and enjoy it. It's not a good film. It is a cool film. And the fight scenes are spectacular. The it's ironic the in-game, like not even the CGI, the in-game models for most of the characters in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth look better than this full CG film.
Well, I mean, that makes sense though. This movie came out 20 years ago.
But the thing is, all the tertiary details like clocks on the walls and the pipes and the buildings, everything, they look better in this than they do in the game. It's a weird mishmash of like of quality where your characters, where you think you're going to spend most of your time and your budget, they look compared to Final Fantasy Remake or in Rebirth.
You can definitely tell this was made in Japan though.
Mhm.
This has that like anime Japan feel to it. This is like in 2005, I never saw this when it came out, probably because I wouldn't even have known about it from like my age. I would just like maybe it just wasn't available around here because it was more like a Japanese thing. I don't know. I never saw it.
I bought it in 2005 whenever it came out. As soon as it came out, I mean maybe it came out a little bit later in the States, but I bought it. I used to have a physical copy. I have no idea where it is now. It's been a long time. Yeah.
So you potentially might have it. Is that what you secretly do on the weekends? You just watch Advent Children?
Mm-hmm.
Just so you can see Tifa?
Oh, that's not even a good outfit for Tifa. Good God. I was sad they never switched
Well, yeah,
her into
she's
her...
like in completely different clothing. Well, it's not completely different. She still has she still has the same skirt, I think.
It's a longer skirt and like her top. I wish she would have changed into like her original outfit for like
Or like battle their battle
battle
clothes.
outfit. Yeah, I mean, sure, having a different outfit like 2 years later is fine, but like Sephiroth like just materialized his outfit from Kadaj.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be dead.
Yeah. Oh man, the movie's just a mess.
What was those three people that showed up at the beginning of the movie?
Hmm.
You know who I'm talking about?
Laz, Kadaj, and I don't remember the third one.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad I'm not alone with the names this time. Where the heck did they come from? Are those like Sephiroth's people?
Okay, so
They never
this
explained that
this
to
is my
me, so I'm
interpretation.
confused.
This is my interpretation of the film. When Sephiroth died at the end of Final Fantasy VII, he split into three parts: Laz, Kadaj, and I can't remember the third one's name.
Yes.
And so, at the beginning of the movie, you see the Turks going to the Northern Crater. So they've just been sitting there jerking off for 2 years, waiting for someone to
Oh,
get them out of the crater. Uh, the Actually, we don't know what. I don't think we ever see. Like they say that Elena and Sung are alive, but we never see them. Um,
yeah. No,
we only hear her Sung and Elena. So I guess they're dead in the Northern Crater. The three remnants of Sephiroth came in looking for Genova because if the one of the remnants of Sephiroth can get a hold of Genova, Genova can make one of the remnants actually Sephiroth for whatever reason. But then if you kill Sephiroth,
not explained. It's not. That's not explained.
but then if you kill Sephiroth, the it turns back into a remnant, I guess. And Sephiroth's dark presence inside the live stream has caused geostigma to
That's what
make all the
infect people.
children sick. And
Yeah.
geostigma, the remnants know they can use to control the children, so they take them to the Forgotten City and do something
You
to
know
them.
the funny part is like the children are just like cool with it. They just
They're like,
they,
yeah,
like, they pull up. One of them, Kadash or whatever the heck their names are, pulls up in like a pickup truck and he's
it's
just
like,
like, "Come
come
on,
on,
children!"
kids.
And they all just there's like 15 of them, and they all just get in the pickup truck.
That's how you know it was made in Japan because they're like, and Americans like, don't get in the car with strangers. That's what I heard all the time growing up as a kid. Like,
Yep.
don't get in the car with strangers, even if they offer you candy. Like, what? I feel sad. I was never offered candy to get into a car as a child.
I was if I was, maybe I would have took it. But these kids are just told to like, yeah, come with me, and then they get just taken to like a forest where like it
That's the
looks.
Forgotten City. That's where
Yeah,
Aerith dies.
they get taken to the forest, and then they just I don't even remember what happened to the kids there. What happened? What?
They just get brainwashed. Like,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
there's
Okay.
there's bad water there, which makes the geostigma, I
Yeah.
guess,
I can
affect them
feel
worse. So they're mind controlled. Although they don't really do anything but stand around like zombies later in the film.
that.
I don't.
That didn't lead.
It
That didn't lead to anything.
didn't lead to anything. It's just bizarre. The film just doesn't make any sense. It's like they're trying to come up with some kind of like plot thread to get characters from point A to point B, and it's just it doesn't make a lot of
We
sense.
need you to get here to here. How do we get that done? We're gonna get a pickup truck. Can you imagine having that meeting when you're talking about the story? Oh, it's like we're gonna have a pickup truck. This guy's gonna say get in the car, and they're all just gonna go in the car.
Well, the funny thing is, it's like the Forgotten City's technically on a different landmass. So they would have had to take the truck to a port, take it a
That was
boat to the
that
other
was a
landmass,
long
or take it a
ride.
plane. Yeah, like Cloud just rides a motorcycle to the Forgotten City. I'm like, this is on a different continent than Midgar. Do you know this? Square
Yeah,
Enix,
but
these. You can't just drive from point A to point. Like, these are not a drivable thing unless they just
yeah, but how cool
they
is
get
his
on a
motorcycle?
ferry. They get on a
His
ferry,
his
and the ferry
motorcycle's
takes
cool
them.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it's
could,
cool.
but his motorcycle's cool, so they need to show the motorcycle.
Yeah, hmm
That's why. We're
and
not. They're not. They don't. It doesn't matter about the story. It matters about how cool everything is. Just cool.
this show the movie is about the rule of cool. Like, forget everything else. It's just like
Nothing matters. It's just cool.
yeah, nothing matters. They just kind of waste time in between the fight scenes with some nonsense, and
I was pretty
It's
disappointed with the ending fight with Sephiroth. He stabs Cloud like quite a few times, and Cloud's just like then he just has his dead buddy show up, and he's like, "We're friends, and you have to do this for me." And Cloud's just like, "Done." He's
done.
just like, you know
I'll
what?
use Omni. I just got Omni Slash. It just charged. I'll use Omni Slash now, and I'll finish off Sephiroth.
The power of
Thank you for
friendship. I
thank
will
you for
be able
charging.
to beat this.
Thank you for charging my Omni Slash, Zach.
I'm taking your materia. Oh man.
It's
I do wish like Aerith could come back at some capacity because I know you're a Tifa fan. I prefer Aerith. She's wholesome. I like the more wholesome girl. I
she's
know.
not wholesome. She's in love with Zach. She's where she's supposed to be. It's always been Aerith and Zach and Cloud and Tifa. That's what it's supposed to be.
I what does it have to do with anything? I'm just objectifying right now. I don't.
You're just objectifying Aerith. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine, I guess. I mean, each their own, I suppose.
Why you prefer Tifa, right? You think you like her?
Yeah, but I mean, she's canonically.
Oh, in terms of the story, she's fine. It is that's cool. That's cool. I'm cool with that.
So many people are like actual shippers for Tifa. I mean,
really?
I mean Cloud and Aerith, and I'm like that. Sure, like Aerith was into Cloud, but I mean like.
I don't really care either way. I have no feeling towards or against any of it.
If they redubbed this movie with the cast from Final Fantasy VII,
they're definitely not going to do that.
The movie might get half a point better. Because even with decent line delivery, the movie still looks old.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, what the problem is with that is I'm sure the good folks over at Square or whoever the heck owns this movie, they want to keep this thing buried and tell people to forget about it. Because if they drudge it up, I feel like people are going to be like, wow, this is not good.
They just released it in movie theaters right before Rebirth came out.
Oh God!
They did a limited theatrical run of this film, right?
I wouldn't have done that. That was a bad move.
They did not.
I can't imagine anybody who would go see this movie and be like, "Oh wow, I can't wait to play Final Fantasy Part 7 remake or whatever the heck it's called nowadays." That would make me not want to play it. I don't understand what's going on. Half the time, that's mostly
maybe
true
that's why the sales were bad.
That's why the video game sales are bad. Because everybody went to go see the Final Fantasy Advent Children movie, and they're like, "Oh boy, I don't want to get into this anymore."
It's such a disappointment because Final Fantasy VII for me is one of my favorite stories of all time. It's
like they couldn't let it. It's like they couldn't let it go. Like Final Fantasy VII was like super good, and then they're just like, okay, how can we keep this going? Because clearly, everybody says Final Fantasy VII's the best. There's people that say 10 and stuff, but like generally 7's the number one choice for everybody, and they probably realize that, and they're like, how do we keep this going? Advent Children, bring Sephiroth back because nothing matters. Cloud gets stabbed a million times. It doesn't matter. He's the main character. He can't die. He's pretty much invincible.
He gets stabbed a million times, and he gets blown up, and then he gets shot with like 16 different materia spells. He's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But he's cool. So that's all that matters. He's like a cool, mysterious hero guy, which is fine. Like all the characters in Final Fantasy have their own purpose, and they're memorable. And I'm saying that's coming from me. So anything that happens to the characters is just like, unless like most of the time death doesn't matter because it's like, sure, Aerith or whatever is dead, but it's like she's all referenced in this movie like 5 or 6 times because she's still giving people power or whatever. Her power. So
able to affect things from the live stream, I guess.
They're all part of the live stream now. So is Sephiroth. He's part of something now. His consciousness is in there, and I'm not even sure what he wants in this movie anymore. He's like, I want to. What he wants doesn't make sense.
He's in the movie for one fight, and then he's gone. Like it
Yeah,
him
well,
as
after he loses, he's just like, "I want out. I'm leaving, and I'm not done with what I'm doing yet." It's like, okay, so this whole movie is purposeless. There's no point to this.
it's just the story and narrative of the original Final Fantasy VII is so strong. Like that's why I watched this movie like 4 or 5 times when it first came out. I'm like, I've got to be missing like the point of this film. Like I must just be dumb, and it's just not coming. Because like I said, the game is one of the best stories for me personally that I've ever witnessed, read, experienced, whatever. One of my favorite stories of all time. So like a follow up, presumably by some of the same writers, it's just not good. And I don't know how much of it is just lost in translation. Because I just the movie feels like it was poorly translated. I mean, I don't know. I don't know Japanese. Like I can't say I
You
haven't
don't.
listened to it in Japanese. But I feel like the movie's like poorly, like all the times, like "Don't cry, Laws. Are you crying?" Like I'm just like, I mean, I guess the one time it looked like he was crying, but I feel like it came up a lot, and it's just like we've seen this character for 2 seconds and he's crying, and I'm like, what? The movie just has some weird beats, and I don't know if it's like a bad translation or just I don't know.
I don't think it's a bad translation. I think it's just the movie just doesn't make sense, which is okay. It's okay. Not everything has to be perfect. We had perfect. It was Final Fantasy VII, and then they're gonna keep going with it. We're gonna be dealing with this for another 30 years.
Hopefully,
Oh
only four
man.
years before the next game, but man, like it just makes me
So
appreciate
what
the voice
does
actors of the new game versus the movie because man,
well,
the voice
they got
acting is
good
so
voice
bad
actors. I
in
would
the
like to
film.
brag for a moment. When I was at Comic-Con earlier this, well, you already know, but when I was at for anybody listening at this point, I was at Comic-Con last year and I got to see all the voice actors for this game, and that was cool. Anyway, moving on. What was Sephiroth's actual goal in this? He wants to destroy Earth to go to a different planet and then destroy that one? Like I don't understand what his goal is here.
He wants to be Genova Part Two. I guess
Ah,
he wants to turn
like more creative.
the Earth, the Gaia planet of Final Fantasy VII, into its own meteor, so it can crash on some other planet, and he can be the genetic material to try to take over that planet
Oh boy.
too.
Okay. Sounds like he's just a
I
genius.
don't know. It's his goals are not clear. It also doesn't help that he's in the film for 5 minutes, so he doesn't have much time to establish his goals.
It was the shot where like he appears. It was pretty cool. Like he was going to attack one of his like minions. Cloud was going to attack one of his minions, and when he like hit the sword, it was just like Sephiroth just standing there with his sword. That was a cool transition. That was a cool moment.
Yeah, I mean,
Again, bringing it back. This is just a cool movie.
this is just a cool movie. It's not a good movie, but it is very cool.
Oh man. Yeah, that's Final Fantasy, man. That's Final Fantasy right there.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
You got anything you want to add? You want anything you want to add here?
Um. I wish it was better. I wish the
Okay,
story
well,
made
that's
sense.
straight from the horse's mouth. We wish it was a better movie. I agree.
Oh
Oh
man.
boy. Well, yeah. Would you recommend Final Fantasy Advent Children to uh people that don't like video games?
No.
Would you recommend it to people who do like video games?
No, I would
Would you
recommend.
recommend it to people who like Final
I
Fantasy
would
VII Remake?
recommend finding just the fight scenes on YouTube. There's got to be a compilation of just the fight scenes of this film, and that's the only things that are worth watching, really.
Specifically the Tifa one.
I thought the Bahamut fight was pretty cool too.
I mean, all the fights are cool. I
All the
just think the
fights are
Tifa one was on top.
the Tifa one was fantastic, yeah. But it was just nice getting to see all the whole crew getting together doing stuff. And Kate Sith had a Scottish accent. I forgot he had a Scottish accent in this because he's got a Scottish accent
Yeah.
in Rebirth, and I was like, oh yeah, he's Scottish. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Also, that big thing they fought, Bohemia or whatever. I can't remember the name.
I
You just
think it
said it.
was a different version of Bahamut, like a fourth
It
version,
doesn't.
because
It didn't feel like it.
it
It,
didn't
it
look
didn't feel
like.
like it had any weight or anything. It just kind of like was there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another complaint I
Well,
got.
that's a problem with some CG, and he was also flying the entire time, so it's hard to feel like it's got weight when he's always like flying.
Yeah, it didn't. I don't know. Anyway, look at that's it. YouTube. This is what you gotta do. Find a YouTube video with the fight compilation for Final Fantasy Advent Children. Watch that, and you will get more enjoyment than we got.
Yeah, probably because you don't have the story of the very poor voice acting to weigh down how cool everything looks.
Exactly.
Because I mean, like it's just like it looks cool. Then you hear someone open their mouth and talk, and it's just like, whoa, that's
Their lips just not
It's
line up at all.
it's significantly less cool hearing Rufus just his delivery was so bad. It's like he was
All the
reading a
deliveries
laundry
were
list.
pretty. It sounded like Cloud was asleep most of the time,
Yeah, Cloud was asleep.
but he always sounds kind of like he's asleep.
Tifa said nonsense. Dilly shally shilly shally or whatever the hell she kept saying over and over and over again. She
Yeah.
never said this once in the video games. She hasn't said it in the remake or
It's her
rebirth, I don't
catchphrase.
think. So yeah, like I really hope she doesn't start saying it all the time in the third one.
That's all she says.
Shally shally shally. Like what the hell is that? That's also why I feel like it was
That's
a
the
really
English translation right there. That's what you're dealing with.
that's why another reason I feel like it's a bad translation because that makes absolutely no sense.
I can't believe they did a movie theater release for this. Oh boy. Well, email David at synthaholics@yahoo.com. Tell us what you think below the like button.
Yeah,
That's what YouTubers do nowadays. They like throw in the like button, but they don't like directly talk about it. They're like, yeah, what do you think? It's below the like button. Like you don't tell you hit the like, just like put a comment.
Like, yeah.
Put a comment below the like.
Is this movie worth it to watch all the way through for you? Let us know below the like button.
Well, we already know the answer to that one. Ask him more.
Hey,
we gotta think of a better question.
Everyone has their own taste. Some people might love this film.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You know what? I want to create some beef.
Prove Ryan wrong.
Somebody go in the comments somebody go in the comments. Tell him you disagree with me, and then tell David that, and then David will tell me because I don't read the comments.
I will relay anything you want Brian to know. I will relay to him because he doesn't read the comments until I point them out to him.
And then I will get into a fight with you, and then we can,
Oh man, I can't wait for the internet fight between Brian and whoever posts they like Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Please, someone start this fight with Brian.
I will say, anybody who puts like a significant amount of effort into understanding the movie absolutely is gonna destroy me because I don't know what.
I hope the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire guy comes in and writes like a full review. Doesn't even comment on what we said, just writes a full review of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children as a comment. Because that was a pretty good comment. It's just like he just reviewed the movie himself. Like if you guys haven't seen it, if you're still here, go look at our Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's either Ghostbusters Afterlife or
I don't know what Frozen Empire.
It was one of them. Like some guy went and wrote their own review. Didn't really comment on anything we said. Just wrote a giant review under our video review in the comments. Great.
Oh man.
It put a smile on my face, anyway.
It put a smile on my face now and before, so a double smile.
All right, guys.
Go Omni-slash your way through life.
Omni-slash your way through life, and next time we'll be getting into some Furiosa, theoretically.
Who knows?
Till then, I've been Dave.
I'm Brian.
We'll see you next time.